Hello everyone. Let's talk about Amber Rudd's resignation from the Conservative Party. So let's get right into it. This article is from the Independent. It was published very recently. Amber Rudd, work and pension secretary, resigns government. Wow. Amber Rudd has sensationally quit the cabinet and the Conservative Party, accusing Boris Johnson of misleading the country over wanting to avoid a crash-out Brexit. In a devastating resignation letter, the Work and Pension Secretary told the Prime Minister, "I no longer believe leaving with the deal is the government's main objective." Ms Rudd, a leading pro-EU figure, criticised for serving Mr Boris Johnson in the first place, also condemned the decision to expel 21 rebel Tories for defiance over Brexit, another reason for walking out. She goes on to say, It was an assault on decency and democracy and an act of political vandalism to end the careers of respected heavyweights including Ken Clarke, Philip Hammond, David Gooke and Nicholas Soames. I cannot stand by as a good, loyal moderate conservative are expelled. I cannot stand by as good, loyal, moderate conservatives are expelled, Miss Rudd wrote. She actually wrote a very long letter, which I'll leave a link in the description box so you can read that letter for yourself, but for now, I'm just reading bits of it. Miss Rudd has said she will stand as an independent MP in a future election. The resignation caps a tumultuous week for Mr Johnson, whose Brexit strategy has been left in tatters by the successful Westminster revolt to block no deal while also denying him the general election he so craves. Well, it's not looking good for Boris Johnson at all. I'm not going to read the entire article because there's some irrelevant bits which I've already covered. But obviously, I'll leave a link down the description box below. It comes amid an extraordinary new threat by Number 10 to sabotage the EU and stop it functioning, to try to force it to cave into the UK demands. Downing Street believes it has devised a way to make the EU no longer legally constituted, paralysing its decision-making by refusing to appoint a new commissioner. Last night, a senior government source insisted the Rudd resignation would not deflect it from its determination to carry out Brexit by 31st of October by whatever means. Strikingly, Miss Rudd has not only quit the cabinet but also the Conservative whip in order to work with the 21 expelled rebels to thwart a no-deal Brexit. Announcing her plans to run as an independent Conservative at the next election, she wrote, "I joined your cabinet in good faith, accepting that no deal had to be on the table. Number 10 had not provided me with the reassurance I sought, that seeking an exit deal was still the objective." Just looking at what else to read to you. David Gooke, one of the Tory rebels to lose the whip, praised Ms Rudd. He also called on other government ministers to act. He goes on to say, "Amber Rudd has been extraordinarily brave, but her concerns about how the government is behaving reflect the views of many of my former colleagues. One way or another, it's time for them to act. always the case for staying at the table. You get criticised by natural allies, and from a distance it doesn't look good, but you can make a difference. But there comes a point, and it's a difficult judgment when enough is enough. Lots of good people wrestling with that dilemma. The MP's resignation comes 2 days after Boris Johnson's own brother resigned from government. Ian Lavery, who is an MP for the Labour Party chair, responded to Ms Rudd's resignation. He said, "The Prime Minister has run out of authority in record time and his Brexit plan has been exposed as a sham. No one trusts Boris Johnson, not his own cabinet, not his MPs, not even his own brother. After 9 years of austerity, we need a Labour government, and we need a Labour government that will invest in our communities and our public services." Well, Mr. Ian Lavery, I just want to say you need to convince Jeremy Corbyn of that you need a Labour government, because Jeremy Corbyn has rejected a motion for a general election despite 2 years chasing one. So, before you convince us that we need a Labour government, please convince your own leader. That would be very helpful, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Obviously, Jeremy Corbyn does not want to get locked into a no-deal Brexit discussion, but that's a topic for another video. Boris Johnson, wow, first your own brother resigns, and then some days later, Amber Rudd resigns. Soon there's going to be nobody left in your cabinet, Mr. Boris Johnson. What are you going to do then? You can't run the entire government yourself. You still get your trusted allies like Jacob Rees-Mogg, but I think it's going to be a matter of time before even he leaves. Sorry about that. Anyway, I think that Amber Rudd resigning shows that the Conservative Party is ending as it is. I mean, think about it. If your own brother resigns, that's saying a lot about Mr. Boris Johnson. If his brother resigned and then Amber Rudd resigned, I mean, he's going to have nobody left sooner or later. He's going to have to either resign himself, or he's going to have to put it back to the people and let the people decide how they want Brexit to be done. I don't think a general election is the answer. I've said this billions of times. But this is the only option that we have, is the people's vote. That's how Boris Johnson can save face. Because everybody's leaving him. And soon he's going to end up with no friends and nobody to back his government. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's see who else resigns and who else leaves him. But don't be surprised if there's hardly anybody left in the cabinet.